I'm up in the guest house. I don't normally smoke inside, but the window's cracked here. So, Christmas or New Year's Eve, kind of early on New Year's Eve. Little sunshine, that's always welcomed, but cold. Man, my water system, I have this shallow well, and it is seriously frozen. So, yeah, like frozen solid. So I was gone, I couldn't keep a drip going, and I think the heat tape I had on the pipes is too old. So anyway, so I'm going to head down to the marina and take a shower. Can't even bucket, well, I could bucket bathe if I got no snow and melted it, and got snow and melted it. Yeah, it's just not a happening thing. Smoking some of that Christmas cheer from 2009 in a BP Jum. Nice little Jum. So I've been watching a bunch of YouTube and not too many pipe smoking videos. More like film production and camera stuff. You know, I'm trying to still figure out this new camera. So it's fun. It's a challenge. So so I'll watch some videos, and then that'll lead to somebody talking about a different aspect of the camera. You know how YouTube is. You just get down this rabbit hole. And yeah. So I was watching some film production videos, like using smaller scale equipment like this, and how people do it, how they, you know, just manage all that stuff. There's so much that goes into making a film. So, yeah, it's been fun. It's been fun. But it also makes me think, and maybe I'm just watching a little more mainstream stuff. I watched Cloud Atlas last night on Netflix. I never had seen that before. Very flawed, but interesting. And the New York Times had some recommendations on films on Netflix to watch before they leave, you know, so I've been watching a little bit of stuff I normally wouldn't take the time to do. But there isn't a whole lot to do except keep the wood stove stoked, pet the cat, and stay warm. So anyway, it kind of got me thinking, you know, and New Year's Eve is a good time. This whole little Christmas, New Year's Eve time is very introspective for me usually. So, you know, it just makes me think that I was watching a commercial being put together, and how they filmed it, and how they storyboarded it, and how they, you know, did all this stuff. And how essentially it is so, it isn't fake exactly, but it's a representation. And, you know, you have to, it makes me think that many of us lead lives of representing who we are rather than allowing ourselves to be who we are to other people. It just, and I'm sure that's not a revelation to most anybody, but it requires some introspection, and then once again it requires you to know who you are, and that's an ever-evolving process as well. So, and with YouTube, and honestly with these videos too, there is that sense of do you really know that person? Me. You know, behind the camera. So I my goal throughout this little adventure on YouTube has been to be completely transparent and to be completely just be myself. Take it or leave it. If you don't like it, poo, go away. That's fine. That is just fine. But you could, just like in life, with people or workmates, let's say. Let's use that as an example. Sometimes you don't share a lot of who you are because maybe it's inappropriate, or maybe you're never going to get close enough with that person to want to do that, or maybe you don't want them to reciprocate and share their inner lives with you, and that is quite possible too. And that's what the internet does best, is provides the watcher the control over their content. When they watch it, how much of it they watch. It's all very interesting. So, and it's a mirror of life itself, our social lives and so forth. So I am circling around here, and the whole point is to, at this time of the year, it's a great time to say, have I been doing that too much? Have I been putting myself out there as my brand versus as who I am? And it's an opportunity to decide how much of that you want to do and have control over it, rather than being on autopilot, which I think many of us are. It's just easier that way. It's human nature, it's okay. But it is not necessarily the best choice to make. So this time of year is good for kind of thinking about those sorts of issues and say, yeah, is there somebody who, especially with COVID and all the disruption and the social disruption, I think a lot of people are feeling isolated. And we were thinking we were out of this thing, and now we're not again, right? So it's a time to decide, maybe it's a good time to get to know somebody and get to know them really well, and develop that friendship farther than you would on autopilot. Yeah. So, it's an opportunity. Life is just filled with opportunities. In fact, that's all it is, really, is a big opportunity. And so, a series of linked opportunities, and so you go down one path, and that leads you down this road, and you may never get back here. You're now on this path, following that direction, and that's great. I mean, that's what it's about. But sometimes you need to stop, take stock, and decide if that's where you really want to be. And if it is, awesome. If it's not, awesome. You've seen a weakness or a lack, or maybe that manifests itself as a loneliness or a disassociation, or this kind of free-floating, gee, I'm not really connected to anything anymore because things are so disrupted. Well, there are some solutions to that, and it's often social, if you ask me. So anyway, I'm just suggesting that this is a good time to think about where you are, where you want to be, and move ahead and be in control of those decisions, rather than just having them be on autopilot. I think most of us are raised to pay too much attention to what other people think, and so we kind of live our lives for other people in a way, And it's in our close relationships that we can actually be truly ourselves. And and sometimes that can be a larger field as well. And you can really be yourself and uh, be authentically yourself as far as you know. That's always evolving. That's the other issue. It's never fixed. It's never done. You know, life is like a science experiment that just keeps happening. I really should probably talk less and smoke more if I'm going to do that. But anyway, I think friendships are where that quality and who we are, who we're seen as, can be a true space. So, just saying. That's just what's on my mind. It's delightful. It's a lot like Colorado, like in the mountains of Colorado. Wow, pretty amazing stuff they've had, huh? That wildfire with the huge high winds, and I can remember those growing up, because I grew up in Golden and Wheat Ridge on the west side of Denver there. And when it would be windy like that, we would often drive up by Rocky Flats, where the wind just howled. And in high school, I can remember my friends and I, we'd hop out of the car, and it would you almost couldn't open the door. It was blowing so hard. And you'd just be washed by that wind. It was just an amazing thing. But they are so dry that, wow. Yeah. The over 500 homes lost in like less than a day. Wow. That nobody was killed or seriously hurt is truly remarkable. So, and it's not like the wildfire teams were in place and ready to go and so forth. I mean, this is just such an anomaly. Crazy. Colorado is kind of an extreme place, though, in a lot of ways. The mountains, the plains, very different places. Politically, very different. The western slope, the eastern plains versus the Front Range. Like, very different. So many people have moved there from other places and that was always true. With the mining boom and in the early days and so forth, it was all about immigration and people moving there. So very few natives. But that changes the complexion of a place as well. So, and then they had another shooting. My gosh, I mean, Colorado is just rife with, of course there was Columbine, which started it all off. Gosh. And then, like yesterday, they had some guy kill 3 people, and then he was being chased by the cops, and he killed an innocent bystander, and then he killed another innocent bystander, and then he almost killed a cop before he was shot. I was just like, it's the Wild West. What is this? It is not civil society. And they have just had their share of shootings and so forth. So, wow. And it's a lovely place. If you've ever been there, I mean, it's just a great place. So, because of all those different factors. So, oh no. Anyway, I'm gonna enjoy the sunshine and then go down and get myself a shower. Assuming that isn't all frozen up, it probably isn't. They take pretty good care of that place. Truck's plugged in, ready to go. So yeah. So Happy New Year to everybody. It's just an opportunity always to think about where you're at and think about where you want to go. Think about who you are. Yeah. So have a good New Year.